This podcast is a proud member of the Unidentified Network.
Mythical Legends brings to you the 4th annual Great Florida Bigfoot Conference panel. Mark your calendars for this one-day event to be held at the World Equestrian Center in Ocala, Florida on June 8th. We are honored to host a panel of renowned experts in the field, including Russell Accord, Ranae, Holland, Ken Gerhard, Adam Davies, Matt Pruitt, and Daniel Lee Barnett, led by RPG as the Master of Ceremonies. The general admission for this event is only $25. In addition to general admission, there are reserved seats and a few special VIP packages. For more information and to reserve your spot, please visit FloridaBigfootConference.com. Now, please welcome your host for this very special discussion, Daniel Lee Barnett.
And we are here on the Great Florida Bigfoot live chat, and we have Mr. RPG with us, the Master of Ceremonies. How are you, buddy?
Oh, I am doing well, bud. We get to talk Squatch. I get to hang with my homeboy Daniel, Martin, and Nikki, my favorite bosses of all time. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
So I'm sure everyone knows you, mate. But could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, bud?
Yeah, I've been a lifelong weirdo, man. I've been chasing ghosts, aliens, UFOs, sea monsters, and most importantly, Bigfoot. I got my PhD in Bigfoot, working on finding Bigfoot, which was, if we could just take a 1-second pause for the most wonderful professional part of my life. We should have shot a show about the behind the scenes because it'd be the most successful show after Cops in terms of reality television. But then went on to actually get cast in Expedition Bigfoot, got sick, fell out. But the day that I died, homeboy right here, this special kid, Daniel, was born. So it was all for a good purpose. And now here I am. I teamed up with Martin and Nikki to work their events, and I'm going to Alaska this year. It's my 3 favorite events of the year. You know, the only thing I like more is my family and looking for the Squatch. I did that all in one breath.
Well, mate, sounds like an amazing life to live, mate. So we are going to bring some other amazing guests on. So please welcome to the stage Bigfoot researcher and living down in sunny Florida with RPG, David.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
Hey, mate, how's things?
That's great. It's great. Hot, but great.
Could you tell everyone a little bit about you, David?
Yes, I guess so. I've been a researcher since 1995, and got into this. Actually, technically, I got into this when I was 7 years old because that's when I saw the Patterson-Gimlin film, and I was like, man, that would be awesome to see something like that out in the woods. And back then, you know, as kids, that's all we did is played out in the woods and, you know, build forts, you know, check stuff out. It was awesome. It wasn't until later in life, you know, I got interested in it again. It just sparked that fire. Started learning more about it during the 95 computer industry years, you know, when everyone started getting more computers. I was getting into the computer industry field. So I was doing a lot of stuff online, and just for giggles, I said, let's look up Bigfoot Sasquatch, and boom, man, there's a lot of people, you know, into the subject. And there's quite a few, not as many as today, but there was quite a few people actually going out in the field and looking for these things. And I was like, wow, I want to be one of those guys. And so I started doing a lot of, you know, armchair research on stuff, you know, doing background stuff, and you know, just learning more, you know, getting your feet wet, reading books upon books and literature upon literature on stuff. And I think I've read a lot of reports. I say a lot of reports. I would say over, you know, thousands of eyewitness reports all over the country, across the world. And that just, you know, burned that fire up in you again, you know. So, okay, let's do it, you know, let's jump in both feet. And ever since then, here I am. I've been doing that ever since, loving it.
Wow. Wow.
David's
That-
humble. He's
great
an OG. He is an OG and a respectable dude, man. That guy does real research.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, man, we try to get out there and do the real deal and try to get, it's not just, oh, I wonder, let's find out what these things are now. It's fine to find footprints. It's all exciting to get that kind of stuff. But when you see it so much now in the field, you go to another level of things. Okay, let's move this up a little more, a little higher level now, because we know what to look for in the field. We know what we see out in the field. Okay, they're here. So okay, let's try to get a little closer. Try to get more information from these things if we possibly can, or if they'll possibly let us. Correct. So that's the thing. You want to try to get a good rapport with these creatures, and that's the ticket right there. I think is getting them comfortable with you, and try to get closer to them to get a better understanding, a next level of understanding with these creatures.
100%. Now, I hope, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to bring on the podcaster of Sasquatch Odyssey and Bigfoot researcher, and also one of my buddies, Mr. Brian King Sharp.
What's going on, gentlemen? Hello, Daniel, RPG, David, long time no speak, man. It's good to see you guys.
Hey, yeah, man. It's good to see you.
Very, very good to see you as well, mate. And I'm sure, again, everyone knows who you are, mate. But could you say a little bit about yourself, please, mate?
Sure. I've been a full-time podcaster, as you mentioned. Sasquatch Odyssey was born back in February of 2021. We're about 460 some odd episodes in, and it's all about encounters, man. It's about the people who have had experiences with these creatures. That's what the show's all about. I host 4 full-time podcasts outside of Sasquatch Odyssey, so it is a full-time gig for me.
Wow.
And it's the best thing I've ever done, man. I took a little break from Bigfooting to be a cop for about 16 years, and then I've gotten back into it after 2016 when I left that, and I've never looked back, and I've met some of the most amazing people, lifelong friends like RPG, David, plenty of people that have been on the show that I'm stoked about getting to hang out with and talk about Bigfoot, man. Daniel, you obviously, we've become good friends, and I love what you're doing, man, and I'm just glad to be a part of everything that's going on in Bigfoot right now. There's so much that's happened in Bigfoot over the last 50 years, but I feel like we're on the cusp of something for some reason. I've been super excited since the beginning of 2024. I feel like something big is about to happen. I don't know what it is. I'm not clairvoyant, so I can't tell you what it is. I just have this feeling that we're about to, I don't know if it's just the discovery itself or if we're just going to come together as a community. I don't know. There's something big brewing in 2024. So anytime I get to do anything related to Sasquatch like this, be involved with Marty and Nikki and gather up events and some of the phenomenal stuff they do. This is my first time at the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference, and I am absolutely stoked and honored to be a part of it in any way. So
Awesome.
And I could not agree more with that. I think when Brian, you say there's something big coming, I think there's 2 people individually that are responsible for that, and I'm looking at them right now. But before we bring those 2 in, we are going to bring the skeptical scientist herself, Miss Ranae Holland.
I believe I can fly.
How's things, Ranae?
I can find Bigfoot if he to cooperate. Hi guys, hello, David.
Hello.
So nice to finally meet you.
Finally meet you.
Brian, I'm looking forward to catching up again. And then, I got my Bigfoot brother RPG here and my British Bigfoot little buddy, Daniel. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
So, Ranae,
Ranae.
I'm so glad to have you here. And again, I'm sure everyone knows exactly who you are, but could you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Actually, I don't know if they really do. They've seen a edited version. And as one of the first things I wanted you to know, Daniel, is don't believe everything you believe on television. Don't believe everything that you see on television. When it says, documentary, it's not. My name's Ranae Holland. I am the Ranae Sayer, the skeptical scientist from Discovery Channel's Finding Bigfoot. And got to know my good Bigfoot buddy RPG. He was part of production there. but a little bit of a background for me. I will say one of my favorite things about these podcasts, I don't do a lot, is I get to find out information about friends I don't know. Brian, I didn't know that you were police officers. It's good to know. Good to know when I'm hanging out with you. So I'm a restoration ecologist by training. I've got over 20 years of fieldwork experience, basically studying what salmon do, or more specifically, what part of the salmon the brown bear eats. And from a love of Bigfoot and all things mysterious that was instilled in me by my father, just always had a, if you've seen my TED Talk, I love me a Bigfoot story. And that led me to wanting to find Bigfoot stories where I was doing field work, which led me to meeting the BFRO, which somehow, the way this amazing universe works, instead of heading off to graduate school, I wound up on a television show, traveling the world looking for Bigfoot. But as you were saying, that most people know me, they actually don't know my belief system. And I know that Daniel's on board and RPG is on board and Brian knows, but a lot of people don't realize. It's so funny. Our society, we need to put everybody in a little bin and label them. And to me, it's not about, are you a believer? It's the mystery of what is Bigfoot. So when people say, Ranae, if you finally saw it, would you believe now? It's like, it's not going to change anything for me. I want to know what it is. And that's part of the greater mystery.
That sounds amazing. And I know 100% Ranae, spending about a week with you, you are a completely different person from TV. So to everyone out there, that Ranae is definitely a different person from TV. Now I think I am going to bring on the two people that have made this happen. Do you think I should bring them on or just leave them? What do you guys think?
Bring them on.
Yeah. Come on then. So I'm going to bring the organizers of Gather Up events and organizers of the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference, Marty and Nikki.
Woo! Hey guys.
Woo!
Hey guys.
Hey.
How's things, guys?
Everything's good. Just even listening, you guys, I'm so excited about having everybody here participate this year. That's literally what makes it what it is. We love it.
Yeah,
So-
talking about familiar faces now. It's like, this will be RPG probably our 6th or 7th time working together on things, and unfortunately, only our 2nd with Ranae. But we're trying to make up for lost time.
Your Bigfoot family is definitely turns into your Bigfoot family. That's for sure, and every one of you guys are our family for sure.
And Dave has definitely been around almost every Florida Bigfoot we've had.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Brian, I think we met Brian 2-3 years ago now, and you've been a participant at both Gatlinburg a couple times and now Florida. So yeah, it's a big happy family.
And then thinking about that first, just talking to you, Daniel, and learning about you, and just being so excited to bring you on this year. That's just, we're so excited.
Yeah, so you guys may or may not know this, but Daniel reached out to us some time ago, pretty good while ago, and I still recall the day. I'm like, I thought Nikki was like, I'm just going to get him on Facebook and invite him, and it was a very fun, 15-minute conversation we had, and the enthusiasm that he has for this field is amazing.
Awesome.
So,
Thanks, guys. And I'm going to say this for the final time. I'm sure everyone knows who you guys are, but would you introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Nikki Beatty. I am the owner of Gather Up Events and pretty much the organizer, co-organizer of most events. Marty does a lot of the organizing, especially on the speaker side, and he's kind of the jack of all trades, but I'm kind of in the background just doing the social media and attendees and just making sure he's doing his job.
you get a lot of jobs.
I do.
You got a lot of jobs.
A lot of hats. Yeah. You wear a lot of hats.
Indeed. And I'm Martin Pippin, and as she said, pretty much whatever she wants done, if she doesn't feel like doing it, that's my job. So
Smart
Right,
man.
put RPG on it.
No, he's humble. That guy can do anything. You know what they said? I don't know. A cruise to Alaska? That sounds impossible. You know what Martin said? Oh,
Watch this.
And
Hold
boom,
my beer.
and boom, he does the impossible. So those two are a 1-2 combo that are basically unstoppable, in my opinion. It's a humble opinion, but it's strong.
Well, we have a great team behind us, and like I said, I'm the best delegator there is. So RPG, all you guys.
Hey, I have done a handful of these Bigfoot conventions. I want to say one thing, especially now that, you know, Daniel and Brian, you guys are introducing, you know, Marty and Nikki here. When finding Bigfoot wrapped, I needed a break to heal myself physically, mentally, emotionally, on all levels. And I've gone to a handful of these conferences, and they've been great. You know, I've seen Mark up at Ohio Bigfoot Conference. He's wonderful. You know, I worked at the other one in Tennessee with Crypticon, but you know, it's so interesting to see them all, and everybody's so good. You guys really do have truly a family event, and not to say that the other ones aren't, but it's really nice to see that Daniel's enthusiasm meet with this equal positivity and enthusiasm and connection. And as you guys know, the reason why I go to these Bigfoot events really is about belonging and community. Really is. And I think you guys really elevate that. So thank you. And thank you again for the invitation. Looking forward to it. Yes.
Making me that.
So,
hey, I want to say thank you too, because you introduced me to Daniel. That's how I met Daniel, and that's altered my life on a new course. You know, we all have our different Daniel origin stories, but thank you for creating mine. Very much.
Nice.
And it was the same with Ranae, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. There is this, you know, literally, you guys. I've been sprinkling and going to conferences. I'm starting to do them more. Really, it's my. If I am doing anything that's Bigfoot related, as we were speaking earlier, I may not believe Bigfoot's a biological undiscovered species. Easy now, down Daniel, easy there. David, you know, I'd love to talk. You know,
we got to talk.
But my beliefs are very closely aligned with Indigenous peoples, and so if I am going out and researching, it is usually on reservation land, or I'm doing, you know, I did a charity event for St. Jude's where the money, you know, we raised about $10,000 for St. Jude by taking out a retired Seattle Seahawk and myself. And then I also was able to give back to, you know, some friends at a local Pacific Northwest tribe. So, but my research and investigations are basically those, you know, long-term witness ones on private land or the reservation. But to me, I don't know. But I'm not here to discuss what Bigfoot is right now. I'm here to talk about this amazing event.
So there is so many questions coming out, but I'm gonna kind of start with some going round you all kind of individually. But I'm gonna start with our organizers, Marty and Nikki. So going all the way back to the start. What was the inspiration, guys, for you starting this company or these events?
Looks like they might have froze up, Daniel.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourself.
Well, let's double back. Do you want to give a different question to someone else while we're waiting for them?
Yep. Let's go to Brian. So Brian, mate, you are the host of the Skunk Ape Roundtable. Am I right?
Yes.
So could you tell us a little bit about this roundtable?
Yeah, we're going to have a group of investigators that are specific to the Florida area. I am stoked about this because I talk to so many people across the country and even in other countries, in the UK, Ireland, other places that claim to have had experiences with these things. But I'm so stoked to talk to investigators that are specific to Florida and the skunk ape, because I see so many differences in what we hear in the Pacific Northwest, for example, versus what's going on in Florida with the skunk ape. I've had people like David on the show in the past who have shared experiences, and people like Marie Dumont, who's going to be a part of our roundtable. But we're going to have 5 people that are specifically in the Florida area looking into skunk ape specifically. So I want to get into all kinds of things. I've got tons of questions. I'm probably going to have to pare the questions down because I have way too many, because I'm stoked to hear what they have to say about this. But I'm going to get into all kinds of things. We're going to talk about some of the things that they found, right? Some of the evidence whether it be footprints, what they look like, anecdotal experiences that people have shared with them, some of the more interesting experiences that they've gotten from other folks, get into the evidence that they're finding, talk about the differences in what we're seeing around the country and in different places throughout the United States versus what's going on in Florida. Some people say they've seen smaller versions of Bigfoot. I've talked to David and he says, no, they're just as big as they are in the Pacific Northwest. So I want to dive into all of that stuff. We've got an hour to dive into some of the amazing experiences and some of the amazing work that these researchers are doing in Florida. And I am absolutely stoked to be a part of it. And I cannot wait to have that conversation during the conference.
It's going to be incredible. It is going to be incredible. I can tell you that right now. Now we have our hosts back. You froze and you went ah. So I am going to return to I'm going to return to you guys now. And go with what was the inspiration for you to start this company and to start these events?
So actually, it started out as just doing fun community type events, and Bigfoot was actually one of our themes. We did a Bigfoot and barbecue up in the high mountains of Tennessee one year, and really didn't have an idea that Bigfoot was such a interest, a special interest. And when we kind of had a few people show up to speak about Bigfoot at this festival, we realized how big the community was, and we instantly got interested in Bigfoot as not only just like a novelty, but as an actual something to research and right. Believe in. I mean, it doesn't take long to sit down and listen to everyone talk about it before you start going, wait a minute, is this really real? This is real. This could be real. So from there, one of the speakers that we had, his name was Matt Sieber. He's from the East Tennessee Bigfoot. He said we needed to do a conference, and we sat back and was like, could we do a conference? Where would we do a conference? And Gatlinburg, Smoky Mountain seemed like the best place to kind of try it. And it was kind of a huge risk. Terrifying. Let's get this convention center and pour a ton of money into something, which Daniel, you're probably learning quickly how much these events take to organize. And tickets started selling, and we were like, wow, this people actually want to sit down and listen to people talk about Bigfoot for hours on end. Yes, they do. So
yeah, and I think it's important to say, it's like, we were blown away that first event, and it was called, the Bigfoot and Barbecue Festival, right? Mm-hmm. And we had this little tiny building. We didn't think it was tiny, but what,
150 people?
Yeah, we had multiple areas of entertainment. One of them was we had live people all day long, locals, talking about their Bigfoot research experience, right? And then we had a main stage, and we had programmed really, really good, talented people at the main stage playing music. And we had a kids zone with tons of stuff for kids to do. And despite all of that, we found that little tiny room was attracting 80% of everybody. It was like they were just squeezing in, trying to listen into what was going on that stage. And these were researchers that had never been on a TV show. I'll take it back. One of them had been on a town hall on finding Bigfoot. That was the most famous person there. A guy stood up during one of the town halls and talked, right? But the passion was tremendous. And when they said, hey, we want to do a conference, we did. We looked at it, and we did find it terrifying because most of these places are generally free venues, and probably in the Bigfoot world still, probably 80% of all the events are done in very inexpensive venues. And we're like, if we're going to do it, let's do it big. Let's, give these people a place that matches their passion, give them a place that people can't look at and go, oh yeah, another bunch of 13 people hiding in the back of a Holiday Inn talking about Bigfoot. So we wanted to be professional and make it a respectable event. And so that's why we tried to go as hard as we did, and we're super happy with the way it turned out.
And the Smoky Mountain one, it did well for a couple of years. And I'm originally from Florida. I grew up in Vero Beach, and so I said I want to do another one, but I want to do it in Florida. There's nothing like that in Florida right now. There's something called the Skunk Ape down there, and we need to find a place that can hold over 1,000 people, which was kind of thing. And so we ended up in Lakeland, Florida, the first, was it 2 years? 2 years, and realized we'd outgrown it really quickly. And so then we found the World Equestrian Center, which at the time wasn't even built yet. So it wasn't even an option in the beginning. And as soon as they said, we're ready for you guys, we can hold 3,000 people at once, we're like, let's do it.
Yeah,
so.
and it would hold 10,000 if we had 10,000 show up. It's that big, but
Yeah.
but it's hard to find a place in that 2,000 person range, which it blew right through it last year. I think there was close to 2,500 people at the event last year. So
And then we had to start dealing with some locals. So RPG, in walks RPG, and now he's part of the family, part of the events. And we were thinking, we'll get a new MC every year, but you can't beat him. You can't beat RPG on the MC.
Oh,
They broke the mold.
thanks, guys. I love it. You're the only people I would leave my family for. The only people that I temporarily leave the family for. Hey, and I want to say too, with Brian, with over 5 million downloads, people do want to talk about this, and people will cramp a small room if they have to get that out of them. Man, it's cathartic when you finally can tell people that, and they look at you and wonder and awe and go, "That's amazing," as opposed to "You're crazy," Just and you guys provide that with this event, which is another part that I know Ranae will agree with me. It makes it wonderful. It's like therapy and Bigfoot and fun and every knick-knack paddywhack you could ever want to buy to put up in your man cave or woman shed or whatever you want. Like come swim in it. It's wonderful to feel that safe.
Absolutely.
And talk about what you love.
And all those.
We lost him again.
No.
They froze.
While we're waiting for them to come back, we're talking about congratulations again, Brian, on the 5 million downloads. That's fabulous. That's a fantastic moment. Congrats on that. We're talking about community belonging. I call you we have Ronnie when we were over in the UK. I call Mr. Manifesto, and RPG to me is Captain Positivity. But Daniel, you're a Captain Enthusiasm. I mean, you really are. So, but what are people bringing to the table? This is what I love and enjoy, and it's a safe place. People can be on camera or not on camera, but it's a safe place to share their experiences. Some people are just excited and they just can't stop talking about it. Some people are terrified, as you're all familiar with. But brings me back to the one point, and until Marty and Nikki come back here. It's about belonging, but it's also about let's be compassionate, because this is what this is for those of you who may have seen the handful of talks as I've over the last couple of years. I've gone to a few of these. I'm trying to get out and go to more. But what I'm really calling about in our community is whether you're biological, whether you're whatever it is, we're all in the same community and we can learn from each other. And they're back. Just
For now.
Oh,
There you go.
I just went and reset the router. So.
Right. Right. You guys are back. So glad when you froze again, we all went, "Oh, not again." So
if it happens, just kick us out and we understand.
Yeah, it's not great. The internet's not great where we're at, for sure.
And let me say something real quick before we move on about the podcasting side of this. I get to sit down with one person at a time and talk about their experiences on the show. And 5 million downloads in the first half of this year has been phenomenal. But what happens at this conference is, if you guys have not been to a conference, particularly either the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference or the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference, is you get to come together with so many like-minded people at one time. For me, it is like a kid in a candy store, because I get to talk to literally thousands of people in one day. That would take me years to do on the podcast, talking to one person at one time. So when Marty and Nikki put together these kind of events and bring together so many like-minded people at one time that you get to experience all at the same time, it is like, again, it's like me being a kid in a candy store. So if you haven't got to experience that and come out to a place like that where there's so many like-minded people who may disagree on whether they're flesh and blood or whether they're high strangeness, it doesn't matter. All of that is washed away in that one time frame where you get to experience all of this at one time. It is one of the most phenomenal things that you'll ever get to experience. So if you're anywhere close to Ocala, Florida, you need to be at the Great Bigfoot Conference to experience that at least once.
Absolutely. Everyone's so respectful too. I mean, everybody just
Sorry, Nikki. Sorry.
No, that's all I had.
my one complaint is, wanting to manning my booth. I don't get to see all the other speakers. This event, when you're doing that event that you're leading for the Skunk Ape Roundtable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is that at what time, and am I able to attend it, or am I going to be manning my booth missing it again?
I think as the schedule goes now, it's 10 a.m. It's one of the first things after RPG warms everybody up and opens up the
10 a.m.
Thank you, RPG.
Let me tell you something special about Florida, right?
About
the World Equestrian Center has a jumbotron right in the middle of it, right? And we actually broadcast it at a level that doesn't hopefully interfere with, but that you can see and kind of hear it from anywhere in the entire building, vendor hall or anything else. The LED screen above the stage, I believe, is 40 foot wide by like 20 foot tall. It's insane. It's like one of the biggest screens I've ever seen. So
yeah, you'll get to see it all just from your actual speaker booth.
You'll just do this a lot.
Yeah. But also watch your booth anytime you want, Ranae. If you need,
I'll just have a mirror.
Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect. Good to know. Good to know.
So following from Brian, then I'm gonna go to David, and I'm gonna say, so you're handling the encounters part of the conference. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please, bud?
Well, we're hoping to get a lot of, well, at least 5 or 6 people to come up on stage, maybe more depending on how many respond back. Got my feelers out there. Some folks. I was talking to you earlier about Steve's encounter. I actually reached out to him. Said, "Hey, buddy, would you like to come out on stage and talk about your encounter to the whole world?" So hopefully he'll come. And there's another handful of people I reached out to. I haven't heard back from yet, but hopefully so here soon. I'm going to reach back out again and say, hey, you guys want to, come to the conference and talk about your encounters. So I think we have I think Marty will back this up. I think we may have 2 possibly that signed up.
We've had a couple more sign up in the last couple of days. I don't know if Marty's seen it, but we've got at least 5 now.
Yeah. Okay. And one of the things about that is inside that building, there'll probably be 200 people that have a story they're wanting to tell. Right. And one of the reasons RPG is so good is he'll start out the day saying, hey, if you got an encounter story, come talk to me or David. And usually we have more than we can actually fit up there. We try to give them, 5 to 10 minutes at most. And we won't let go 10 minutes unless it's really good, but it's usually more like 5 minutes. But so there's enough room for 10 or 12.
Yeah. And I have, if we can't get all of them on there, which is, I know it's going to be impossible to get, fit in a certain amount of time. I'll have some business cards of mine that I hand out and then say, well, let's hook up and we'll talk about your encounter and, get some people out and the folks there in the field there to check out those areas. But we definitely want to hear their experiences, even if they can't get up on stage. There's somebody, one of us, they're going to have a lot of researchers at this event. So there's going to be somebody that wants to listen to your encounter, even though they don't get up on stage that day. So the more
it's definitely a crowd favorite. People love listening to the local and just, everyday encounters for sure.
Exactly. So that's good. We got at least about 5 at least.
We'll have we'll be full, I'm sure. I don't think there'll be any. And if there's any downtime, you can talk them up, David. Tell them about your encounter.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's lots of stories, lots of encounters to talk about.
So everyone in this chat now, if you could share this live, and I want you to share what David and Marty and Nikki have just said, and if you guys have any encounters, I strongly suggest that on the, correct me if I'm wrong, 8th of June, down to the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference to come and share your amazing encounters. I'm sure all the guests would love to hear it as well. So I'm now going to go to Miss Ranae Holland now, and I'm going to say, so obviously you're giving a talk, you're before me, and could you tell us a little bit about your talk?
Well, the first official presentation that I did was in Tennessee at Smoky Mountain. Basically a call out to my experience within the Bigfoot community is everybody feels rejected by science a lot of times. And there's, unfortunately, is this, resistance to it and that we're just shooting it down. And that's not the situation at all. I'm an actual scientist. I don't just play one on television, folks. I'm a skeptical scientist. And again, there's cynicism, there's zealotry. Skepticism's that sweet spot in the middle. A skeptical scientist is someone who says, here's the information. Somebody comes in and I'm pushing back to say, wait a minute, you can't sit in your office and sip your coffee and write these models about the natural world and just state that is right. And that applies to climate change, natural resource management, and Bigfoot. So my specialty is rivers, forests, and everything, and all the animals that are in it. And with all my field experience, my view of what Bigfoot is through a scientific lens. But what people don't realize about me is growing up in South Dakota, and so many of my friends were Lakota and Nakota Sioux, and then moving out to Washington State and all the field work I did for 20 years, I work with a lot of tribal members and work with indigenous tribes. I am basically my view of the natural world and my view of our connectedness to it, my views and my beliefs of how we treat each other and family units, and my view on what Bigfoot is very influenced and aligned with that of the indigenous people. So my talk as a skeptical scientist is to say, we don't know what Bigfoot is. My community is not rejected by science. My community in science is rejected by junk science people. So the big push, I try not to go too far into this because I don't want to be this like telling people how to think. Like I said, to bring it back full circle, in Tennessee, I talked about Mount St. Helens as an example. As a scientist, I did a quick application of what natural resource management was with Mount St. Helens, how this cataclysmic event changed the world in science. By using a process, the scientific method, we were able to change that management. And the new thing on the scene, and I actually came on board right before Darby Orcutt. And I actually switched my talk because I knew Matt was going to come after me, and I thought there might have been some kind of push against science. And so that's why I switched that up. I was heavy to explain, here's an example in the known world with known processes, how we switch it. Look, I know how boring it is. It requires patience, a lot of hard work. But if you repeat it, it can happen. If Bigfoot is a real biological undiscovered species, apply the scientific method, the steps will come. And with a lot of the eDNA that's out there, I wanted to say, look, we have had DNA studies recently, and unfortunately, the majority of them, they are junk science. Using the Ketchum study as an example. So I'm not shooting down or being cynical about Bigfoot being anything. What I'm saying is, with my training, with my lens, I'm defending my community and saying, I'm raising the bar. And I'm saying, if you're going to apply any research to this field, follow the money. What are they doing? Are they just trying to, fill their own pockets? Is it for solely the purpose of a TV show to fill their own pockets? Or are they trying to do the research to answer this mystery? Are they people who just roll their eyes and, not get back to you? That's my call out. And, I speak to this again. We don't know what Bigfoot is. I love it how that people now, if you go, I have friends who have known me for years, and then they find out about the Bigfoot thing. So they're like, what? You're on this TV show? And they do a little digging, they come back, and it's like, everybody thinks you don't believe in Bigfoot. And I was like, that's because they're only watching television. But as word has gotten out there, and I've gone to a few conferences, and people realize that my beliefs it's something beyond science. It's something beyond the current grasp of science. What that is, I don't know. I'm not here to tell anybody what they experience. That's one of the hardest things for me about the show is I would be kind of painted into this box where I'd have to be this or that. RPG was there firsthand, as you would see that, I'm there, even though I'd never been to the Southwest, because of my relationships with Lakota and Nakota Sioux, and then all throughout the Pacific Northwest and Canada, my friends who are in different tribes, as we took finding Bigfoot across North America and the world for that matter, when I would come to a part of the country I'd never been, elders would be there to give me a blessing because they know my beliefs. They know that I believe like they do. I would ask for their, I would give gratitude for letting us on their land. I would ask for their blessing. I would ask them what they did not want me to do. During our investigations, I respected that. I fought for that to be respected. The arguments I would get in on that show would be to not faking anything and respecting either witnesses I'd lined up with or my indigenous friends. If I'd made a promise to them while on their land to treat things a certain way, I'd get in an argument for that. And when I said about not faking anything, I always have to do this. Real quick note, a low budget TV show came on television. I was involved in 2010, but for everybody, 2011, and Finding Bigfoot becomes this cultural pop hit phenomenon out of nowhere. I now understand, everybody loves Bigfoot, and then put these 4 goofy characters together in my dysfunctional Bigfoot family, my Bigfoot brothers. It's a low budget, huge ad dollar discovery. We saved them for many quarters. The one thing that people don't know is that all of a sudden we had this leverage, and me, Cliff, Matt, and Bobo. What was important to us was that each week, one person got to go out and actually squatch and try to squatch and then the most important thing is that if we were going to come back, because they were done, those were 3 guys who did that. And if that show never happened, they'd still be doing what they're doing. And I fell into this, wanted Bigfoot stories, so close to my dad, and there I was. We now had leverage, and we were able to write into our contract, if anything was faked on that show, bye-bye. They were out. And that is the only television show that I know of, that did that. So even though witnesses might have come on or people tried to hoax us or something might have not been accurate, the production, we might not have taken the hot air balloon to location. There were those facts that were, aesthetic for television, but what was filmed on that in those night investigations was not fake. And I appreciate that, and I stand by that to this day. I wish there
I just want to just toss in there is from the production side, people talk crap about reality TV and that it's fake and that everything. They literally, at risk of losing their job, said, no, we're not going to fake anything. That show was legit, and they told the truth all the way through. So anyone on the fence about that, understand when that lady speaks, she speaks the truth. The show was real.
Yeah. And sometimes we would even do investigations where I would be like, I just rewatched one. Something came up in conversation, and it's fortunately a guy he was in Washington State, and he was an indigenous member. And the way they made me say, "Well, I don't think that necessarily happened," or something. Him and I had a conversation about it, and him and I were on base on their tribal land and had a discussion about it. I said, "You understand?" And he's like, "We're all good." It's important to me. Everybody has what brings them to this community. That first of all, whether you've had an experience or not, whether you have an experience, remember, I have never seen what people consider a Bigfoot, describe as a Bigfoot. So whether you had the experience or not, we're all here. That brings us to this Bigfoot family. But it's to me, it's that community, it's that connection. My dad, it's that seeing those parents come with their kids 40 some years later after me. To see that next generation of junior future naturalists. Brian, you talked about this. To me, it was the town halls. And as disheartened and struggling as I was to find purpose and meaning in the show in the beginning, as awful as it was, a friend of mine in the music industry says, you got to find something to keep yourself going. And it was the kids. It was the kids at the town halls. And otherwise, I would have lost it. They kept me going. So Ryan, Cliff, and Bobo will speak to this. The only reason I've come back into this community and started going to conferences, Marty, Nikki, I talked to you about this, is seeing those kids again. That was the families miss you, Ranae. And I was like, okay, because it was brutal. It was a decade. I kind of check in with Ronnie about this. First thing, I'm like, how you doing, Ronnie? Reality TV and the grind that we went through was crazy. So 100 hours of film and 1 minute of good stuff. We actually would film 90. We filmed 100. 100 hours would get condensed to 42 minutes for an episode. So the guys didn't think everything was a squatch, and I didn't immediately shoot everything down. They also would never let me say and speak my true beliefs about Bigfoot being beyond. But I'm not here to talk again about what I think Bigfoot is. We're talking about this amazing conference.
You did a great job at Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference. We had nothing but wonderful feedback from that, and I think you'll get the same at the Great Florida for sure.
Yeah.
People need to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, it'll be more of that. It's really me talking to my community about how we can work together, and to really, come on, people. I'm just here to call out community of follow the money. If you want entertainment, you want mountain monsters, they're great guys, they're hilarious. Separate. I'm just saying, as a scientist, there are two bins. There's entertainment and there's research. And I'm calling out, it's my community, so I call out the people who are saying it's real research, but then really they're faking it. That's the one thing I don't like in this community. Don't bully people. Everybody's entitled to opinion, and don't fake it, because this is a community that is just, we all want to understand what this mystery is. And so those hoaxers and fakers in the interest of dollars are the one people I don't get along with. The one group I can't stand.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, Marty and Nikki, but that sounds like one hell of a talk.
Yes, absolutely. We're so excited. And Ranae goes on at 11 a.m. Is that correct? Who has the schedule?
Yes, 11 a.m.
And only because you preferred to go on earlier. Usually we keep our headliners for the end, but she's gonna be introducing Daniel.
I was thinking, coming from the talks where we hear the real stories, and then I want to talk about real stories, and I probably won't. I will, I'll do my talk about what's important to me. Always people ask, have you had something that's changed your mind? I might briefly share that. And then I want to introduce Daniel, but really I want to talk about all of those stories. And we are seeing so many different things. Everybody, let's work together. Daniel's heard me say this. All major discoveries in the scientific community are multidisciplinary. So all of you people who are in the camp of it's a biological species, and you close yourself off and get in an echo chamber and shut down other reports, you're missing the boat potentially. And all of the people who don't think it has a biological aspect and it's only going through a portal or it's only a spirit, equally, we can learn from each other.
Absolutely.
History shows that multidisciplinary reports and information, that's just how you grow.
Absolutely.
And the conference, we welcome everyone, every belief. We want to hear it. We want you to have your chance on stage to talk about it and tell us what you think and why. So I agree.
And RPG
I just have to say this though. Back in 2020, and I was talking to Marty back in 2021 or before the first conference here in Florida, and I told him, I was like, man, I'm glad you guys are doing the conference here in Florida because I was sweating it, because people are coming to me, say, hey man, we need a conference here in Florida. We need to have an annual conference here. And I was like, okay, well, I started doing research, and I was telling Daniel about this earlier. I was doing research, and I actually flew up to the the International Bigfoot Conference in Washington that Russell Accord had. And I wanted to see Bob Gimlin, of course, from my very first time ever since I've been in here. So that was a great conference. Got to meet everybody, lots of people, Adam Davies. Spoke to Russell about the conference. What does it take to to start a conference? And man, my head was, wow. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And then lo and behold, here comes Marty and Nikki. And I'm like, wow, they know how to do this stuff. If you leave it up to me, it'll be just probably a train wreck. So I just want to say thank you guys for, making it possible for here in Florida to have an annual conference here, because you guys nailed it right out of the gate here in Florida, because people loved it.
I can't believe it's the 4th year already. Can you?
Yeah.
Wait, this is your number 4?
This is number 4 already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I remember right before it was right after our second Smoky Mountain Bigfoot when we had decided to do the Florida Bigfoot, and I trapped I think it was Adam Davies and Lyle Blackburn, maybe Ken Gerhard. There's 2 or 3 of them that I was carrying back to the airport. So I was like, okay, we're doing this thing in Florida next year. Who do we need to get that's local? And David was one of the first names and one of the names that came up regularly that year. So we're very happy that door got open because,
Absolutely.
It's definitely nice having local people that are really invested and interested in this. And then boom, next thing we do, we find RPG, and he does a great job. We talked a minute ago about, or you guys were talking a minute ago about the nature and the positivity inside the building, and respecting all the different opinions. And RPG does a great job of setting the tone at the very beginning of every show that says, "Hey, you'll hey, I'm not going to steal your thunder. You'll see it when you come to the show." But it's because we always try to, as best we can. In some years it's harder than others. Try to develop the show in a way that it has a kind of a roller coastery effect back and forth from biological to supernatural and all points in between. Try to make sure that everybody's got something that they're interested in being talked about. And that therefore means that half the people are like, "What's this about?" And the other half of the show is going, "Well, what's this about?" So it's great to get them all in, because at the end we've been almost, I don't think we've ever had a negative moment, except when those people try to get Dr. Meldrum and David Pilates to fight last year. Other than that, it's almost always been a wonderful.
And then we started thinking, should we be doing this more? Should we be?
Dude, Ronnie and I had front row seats to that, and we were sitting there. And now here, this is the tough part for you guys running encounters and roundtable. When that goes off, you're like, when do I step in? Where do I step in? I'm hoping Martin and Nikki come over and just tell me to step in. But Ronnie and I are having like the time of our life. I mean, these two powerhouses are like, oh yeah, and they just keep puffing. And you got the one guy in the audience just poking the beast and getting it going. And I'm like, this is amazing, but I think I'm going to get fired if I don't stop it. But how do I stop the two kings of the sport, essentially?
Right.
Oh, dude, it was amazing. It was amazing. And we all survived. We're no scars or anything, And I just wanted to add too, like it's why do you love Bigfoot, right? We all may love it for slightly different reasons. If you love it because it is flesh and bone and you believe it in your soul, awesome. Be righteous about it. If you really are like, dude, I think it's a ghost. I mean, look at all these weird things that it's attributed to. That's awesome. Just keep in mind when you're there, you're all in love with the same thing. You're just approaching it from a different angle. And that's life. Life allows you to love things a little different from everyone, so it feels special. So, and anyway, it's a big soup, man. It's a big melting pot of all of us, but they're right. There's a level of respect there, because you know what? Y'all got to act a little better when you're in Congress, when you're in people, right? When you're swimming in that thing, we all act better. You have to. But that's there. That's there for you to enjoy. Sorry.
And that is exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
You got a sneak peek.
Yeah. No, they're gonna feel good. You're gonna feel good in that audience. I might even make you do stretches this year. Just keep the blood moving.
And that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about these conferences. People, I hear different comments about Bigfoot conferences and all this stuff, but it's the community, and this community is growing and growing and growing. But not only that, it brings to the table, it makes have to enlarge the table, so to speak, as far as the scientific part of it goes, because you have all these people that come to these conferences that have many, many, many skills that they may be able to bring to the table. I've talked to a lot of people. I'm sure Brian's talked to a lot of people about their backgrounds. Brian was a police officer. Great. He knows how to, break down stories and look for people may not be telling the right kind of, could be lying or could be telling the truth. Those skills are impeccable when trying to investigate an area or an encounter or something or whatever. And then you have people that are, can live off the land and can track and do all this stuff. So all these people get together, and that meeting table gets larger and larger. And with all these skills that are floating around, all these people are getting more interested due to conferences that they go to and they're curious about. They said, I can bring my skills to this. I can really help these guys out. So that helps tremendously in this field. And it gets, that family grows and grows and grows. And like Ranae was saying, you got to get, even though you have differences on what you may or may not think these things are, we're not skilled in knowing what they are at first. Like Wes Germer says, I don't have one in my garage to study, right? But we all want to be able to get to the point where we can, put our differences aside and say, hey, let's figure out what the heck these things are. And that's what we're all here for.
Absolutely.
As I've spent the last couple of years just dipping my toe back into the Bigfoot community publicly, that is. Like I said, I've as I've been away since Finding Bigfoot, wrapped up, I've been connected with I've been reconnecting. My dad, I found out my dad was adopted. I always knew my dad was adopted. My dad was adopted and I found my dad's birth family. So I've been reconnecting with all of these, waking up one day and finding out I had 21 cousins on one side. Who all got to know me through Finding Bigfoot, which was pretty odd. And then explaining to them.
Ranae.
Yeah. Guess what? She's our cousin. It's pretty interesting. But the one thing I was doing is working on following up reports again on Indigenous land. And in the last couple of years, I don't go to a lot of Bigfoot conferences. I would love to do more if it works with kids. I always say school administrators and teachers reach out to me because my favorite thing is to go and talk to the schools. And if those overlap with Bigfoot conferences, all the more, bring it. But what I've been seeing at conferences just the last couple of years is more of an Indigenous presence, and I love it. And you guys, that's to me, I got choked up. I was at an event recently and try to come in and work the room. And I promise I didn't do the best job that night because I caught myself. It was a lot of, there was from Indigenous members from my home state were at this table. And it was just this moment of like, I literally was shedding tears and we were having. So my point here is I love to see the Indigenous presence at these conferences. We need to welcome them more invitations. It's a breadth of knowledge and experience and skill set that they bring to the table that we need to bring everybody on board. Take down the barriers of what Bigfoot is and listen and learn from each other, but also everyone, we need to be inclusive. So.
Wow. So amazing kind of conversations with us all. But before we get to the actual organization of this conference and kind of going into the details for you guys, I'm going to say thank you so much, both to you, Marty and Nikki, for kind of inviting me into it. I have not stopped talking about it with Dad, and say with kind of spending a week with RPG and Ranae, and like, I'll see you in a few months is amazing, and I know that me and Brian have not stopped talking about it, have we, mate? The main argument was how many books we're going to bring to the conference, and then kind of I kind of started messaging David, and we're like, oh yeah. Can't wait for it. So I will say thank you so much for setting all
We're
this up.
excited to have you. Is this going to be your first time in Florida, you said?
Well, to Ocala, yes.
Okay.
Right. RPG shaking my head. He answers Ranae. They know. My family and myself love Orlando. We love the Disney parks and we love Universal. So I'm 15 and I've been 17, 18 times. So
nice. Okay.
Yes,
so you're doing this trip too?
Yes. Me and Dad are planning a trip to Universal after the conference. So
cool.
yeah, but our first time kind of out of Orlando, but it's going to be an incredible weekend and an incredible week for us.
It is.
So let's nail down kind of to starting with the Friday night then. So do you guys want to say a little bit about kind of the VIP dinner?
Sure. So we have 160 of our attendees who are in our VIP list that get to come and do a meet and eat is what we call it. So we'll do a huge barbecue buffet with everything from pulled pork, chicken, macaroni and cheese, all the good Florida Fixins. And we'll bring everybody together. This year it will be indoors. We don't really announce the location because we don't need party crashers. But it will be indoors in the AC. Last year we did it outside in the under pavilion, but it was April and it was hot enough then, so we knew better than to do that again. So we'll have about 2 hours to meet, eat, mingle. We don't really do like a lot of signatures and stuff there, but we do give everybody an opportunity to meet the speakers in front of a backdrop, take their picture, say hi, and then let the speakers kind of have their little introduction and talks. And that's just a great segue to the Saturday conference, because then they end up getting to be the first ones in the door on Saturday to come get their signatures and everything. And then they end up in the first 4 rows of the, front row seating. So everybody seems to always enjoy it. We always have a blast.
And I think there's 10 left.
Yeah, there's very few left, where there's very few VIP spots left, if anybody's still interested in getting one. All of you will be there, hopefully. Well, David, you can't make it, I think, right? You've got something going on.
Yeah, I won't be able to make it Friday night, but I'll be there Saturday for sure.
Yes, and you'll get to meet everybody else that's not here as well, Russ and Ken. And it's just going to be a great time. Matt Pruitt. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll just say for people listening, Matt Pruitt talking about books, Phenomenal Sasquatch. If you are in the Flesh and Bone camp, he is the next Meldrum or Cliff Barackman or whatever you believe, but talk to him. The dude is smart. Ken Gerhard, he's got his own cryptozoological course. So if you're more wide open on the spectrum of the things that you love, he is someone to definitely talk and meet with. We also have Adam Davies, who Ken Gerhard, Adam, do you want hat or non-hat on a superstar cryptozoologist? And Adam Davies has actually found like real proof. So if you want to talk to someone that legitimately has found proof of these cryptozoological animals, then he's your man. And then Russell Accord, if you love the TV show Expedition Bigfoot, if you love a military member approach, survivalist approach to the phenomenon, then Russ is your guy to talk to. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on all them, but they're all awesome. It's a great lineup, and they're very social, so you'll have a chance to pick their brains.
Yeah, and these are not newbies in the Bigfoot community. Pruitt is an old friend of mine, used to live in Washington State, did a lot of squatching out here before he moved back to the East Coast, and he's a good guy. And I've been whispering his names and conference people's, the event coordinators and the owners saying that name.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Matt was actually a part of our very first Smoky Mountain Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've always been a big Matt Pruitt fan. And one thing I'll say about Adam Davies,
Davis.
I know, but he spells it. Davies.
We always say Davies, but it's Davis.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like there was Ranae doesn't even know this, but she was locked in a metaphysical imagined arm wrestling match with Adam Davis for the right to announce announce Daniel. Yeah, the recent move to move Daniel kind of because Ranae took it over because Adam was like, well, I'm British, I should introduce him, put him up after me. So yeah, I know she hates to do that, but yeah, so it was one of those things. And I was like, just being British or really being into the and loving the kids. Yeah, so I just said, yeah, let's give it to Ranae. Yeah, so I make him crashing the stage, you just never know.
It's after all these years, it's Adam Davis. I've been calling him Davies forever to his face. And he just goes, yeah. In fact, my one request is I can never come after Adam, because then I know in Tennessee I just kept saying yeah. It
grows on you.
Well, I call him Adam Davies.
I mimic people, so sometimes you get
me too.
With somebody
they say
from
that's a
Canada or North Dakota, Minnesota, and I'm going to be saying boat, So
don't feel alone. Don't feel alone, because when we were out camping with Adam down here in Florida, we were doing some research in the areas. It happened to me too, so I started. Yeah, don't feel alone. Yeah.
I've called him Adam Davies forever, and I kept hearing this one guy calling him Adam Davis, and then I realized it was himself calling him Adam Davis. So I realized that's correct. So I should probably assume that mine was the wrong.
This is news to me. See, we learned something at these conferences.
Yeah, that's funny.
Just
maybe
don't call
saying
him late
it
for
fast
squatching.
and we're saying it wrong. We don't know.
And that's why Matt isn't here today, folks. Matt wanted to be with us for the podcast. I texted him a couple of days ago, and he's like, dude, I can't make it. I'm in the woods doing research. So that's why he's not here today. But you guys can catch him at the conference. He is one of the best in Bigfoot.
He really
will
is.
not be disappointed.
Yeah.
And the same with Adam.
Yes.
Same with Adam.
Well, and I haven't spoken to Adam recently, but with Pruitt, what I love about him is he's, boots on the ground, and the great conversation, open-minded, to have that dialogue, to be able to back it up. But I'm not saying that other people aren't, but I think Pruitt is a great example of somebody who's in the biological species camp and is doing the active current research, and then will engage in dialogue to learn more from the entire community. We need more examples like that. Ken, I have not seen in forever, so I am looking forward to seeing him. It's been years since I've crossed paths with him. So, and Adam, I saw recently. I'm just gonna write up to him, go, yeah, Mr. Davis. So that's my plan. I'm looking forward to it.
Ken has a little bit of experience, I believe, here in Florida, because the first time I met Ken was in 2004 here in the Green Swamp, and he's hat and all, he was great, and it wasn't particularly with our team; it was with another team, another group, and that's how I met him. And but he was fabulous, and then I've met him out in Washington as well. So he's an awesome guy. He knows his stuff about cryptozoology, as many others. But it's, I'm happy to see. I was hoping he would have come the other conference with Lyle Blackburn, because the duo of cryptos. But yeah, he's awesome. They're both awesome. Everyone's awesome. So this is going to be a great event for everybody. So just get out there. Drop your money in there, go, and you're just going to have a blast. You're going to learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Before we move on, I can remember when Adam messaged me and said, "Oh, I'm going to be introducing you," and we were messaging. But then when I met Ranae, and we spent a week together, she sat down with us in a local pub, and she went, "Right, guys, I am going to fight Adam to trying to introduce Daniel." So and then she rang me up one day going, "I'm introducing you." I went, "Yay!" But what about Adam?
Question here. I didn't, I do have strong wrist, arm wrestle. I did make the request, but I thought it was very polite and loving. I was just like, would it be okay? I have met him in person. I mean, I know they have that British thing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But it wasn't a fight. I just want to say Adam and I have a great relationship. So.
Oh, absolutely.
She was like, he can't even pronounce his own last name.
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
How are you going to announce someone when you don't even know your own name?
Part of the job, Adam. Or is it Adam?
I just want to slip in this moment of mirth. The dams are about to break. I'm alone with the kids. The fact that I've had this long is phenomenal.
Oh my goodness,
so
break no.
I'll just mute it. If you don't mind, I'll mute it. I'd love to stay on and listen to you guys. I love you guys. If not, I can go respectfully. But if you see me running around, I apologize. Much respect for all of you.
That's fine, mate.
Okay.
That's fine. So before kind of we do our final kind of few things. So Marty and Nikki, is there anything else you guys wanted to say about the actual Saturday of the actual day of the conference?
Well, I don't know how many minutes we have left, but I would love to hear Brian, speaking of delegating, Brian tell us a little bit about the Skunk Ape Roundtable and who we have. I don't think that's been announced
Or did
yet.
we miss it?
Or did we miss that?
You missed it.
You kind of missed that. I don't want to give away everything. I want to leave a little mystery out there, but we do have at least 5 folks from Florida. Marie Dumont's going to be there for sure. I'm confirming these people as we go. We've got Christopher Balzano, who is an author, and we've got Richard Farabee, the founder of BFFG. And I'm working on confirming the last one of our members for the roundtable. But yeah, you guys froze up and missed that. We did get to talk a little bit about
good.
that.
I'm glad we covered it. We'll go back and watch.
Again, we're going to get into all of the things. I'm stoked to get into the skunk ape and the research that people are finding down there. And we're going to get into all the evidence. We're going to get into what they're finding, what the theories are. I told them while you guys were gone, Marty and Nikki, I've got to pare down the questions because I've got so many questions to ask these folks. We've only got an hour, so we'll get into that and get all those questions answered. So it's going to be a good time. I'm really looking forward to doing it. So.
And for what it's worth, all the guys in the Skunk Ape Roundtable, they have their own booths right off adjacent to where the speakers are. So, may not get a lot out of them individually in an hour, but you've got the rest of the day to kind of drop in on them and kind of dig deeper with those.
It's going to be a long day, you guys. We've got 9 a.m. doors open. We go till 7. So you've got 10 hours of fun.
Yeah.
And we're always amazed at the ones that are still there at 7. And there's always a lot. And as they're walking out, we're telling them bye. We're like, these people are troopers. They've been there for 10 hours.
Yeah. And we're shameless stealers, even from ourselves. And the Skunk Ape Roundtable has always been such a loved segment of this event that we actually, for the first time ever in Gatlinburg, are going to be doing the Appalachian Bigfoot Roundtable. So we brought a lot of Gatlinburg to Florida to start with. Now we're sneaking a little Florida back up to Gatlinburg. So
for sure.
But other than that, just in general, I mean, we're in Expo 2 this year, which if anybody came last year, we're one building away from where we were last year.
Next door.
But we did buy a giant inflatable Bigfoot this year. We're going to stick out. I figure that'd be better than one of the 1,000 signs around the World Equestrian Center. So if you can't figure out where you're at, look for the big Bigfoot. And if that doesn't give it away, then you're probably at the wrong place. So, but no, she's right.
It's huge. The World Equestrian Center is huge. If anybody's been there before, I know you guys, some of you have, but we'll have a lot of people going, I couldn't find it.
It's like large college campus kind of size. So.
It is a $1 billion resort. It is the most amazing new area for us to gather ever. So that place is the screen is the definition's too good. It's like 4K. It's like I don't want to see myself that close.
Yeah, it is give me the beauty filter.
Yeah,
and you can come and go as much as you want. You'll get a bracelet when you check in, and so when you get your bracelet, you can leave and go around, have lunch on. I mean, there's 4 or 5 restaurants, and just so much to see just in the World Equestrian Center itself. So we have people come, leave for an hour and come back, and hopefully we'll be able to feed everybody. Last year that was a big to do. It's hard to get
they
2 concession stands isn't a lot to feed.
They promised me food trucks this year.
They did.
Yeah, they told me we're gonna have food trucks this year. So
we'll see.
We'll see. All right. But no, it is. It's a long day, so just come planning for that.
And it's a lot of fun.
It is a marathon, not a sprint. So, but it's engaging. If you're into any of this stuff, you can have a long, fun day for an amazingly low price of $25. Why can you get for $25 these days? Right?
Absolutely.
So
That's right.
So, guys, I want to thank you all for being here today. I want to thank you all in the chat for being here. And in, I believe, 13 days, I looked this morning, 13 days this conference will be taking place. And I can see Marty's face going, it's 13 days away. Yes, but I thank you all for being here and say we will have Russell Acord was meant to be here, but he's on a flight, I think, and both Adam and Matt were in deep in the forest, and Ken is off doing his Bigfoot work. So we thank you all. Is there anything else, Brian, that you would like to say?
No, just looking forward to seeing everybody there. Thanks everybody in the chat. Share this. Let everybody know there's still tickets available. We would love to see you all there on June the 8th.
And RPG, anything else you'd like to say, mate?
Yeah, just that it's all ages. So we've talked about kids, but please, if your kids are curious, bring them. It's not scary at all. It is informative and educational.
There is a listener discretion, though, because we don't know what's coming out of anybody's mouth.
That's true. That's true. But usually, if you let your kids just watch, you're open-minded. But yeah, come on down, family-orientated, and
absolutely.
Really. And there's enough time in the day to do everything if you're there for it. Whoever you want to meet, you'll meet them. You'll be able to hit the vendor booths, and you'll be able to listen to your favorite speakers.
David?
Yeah, just like RPG said, just come on down if you're curious about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, skunk ape, all that. If you have questions, you just want to ask people. I mean, you got a ton of people here that you can ask. I mean, just reach out. I mean, it's going to be fabulous. Like I said, this facility is huge. It's like the Disney World of equestrian, in Ocala.
That's what I call it.
It's the biggest facility there in Ocala. So we hope to see everyone there. Just, anyone that has questions about this stuff and want to get hooked up in this and just want to learn more, or if you had an experience with these things, or you're not quite sure if it was an experience or not, this is the place to come and get your questions answered. Come on down.
Ranae, Holland.
Well, it's a beautiful Memorial Day weekend here. I'm wearing some flannel and a hat because it's 52 degrees in Seattle, and I love rain. I couldn't be happier. So I'm going to have to, dig deep into my closet to find potentially some shorts and lighter, warmer weather. But I think we're indoors. It's going to be air conditioned. Last time I filmed in Florida and I was there, it snowed. So I just keep saying to everybody, bring your sandals, shorts, and your big smile, because I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I know on that night after the VIP meet and greet, there's 160 people, but usually everybody figures out where we're staying at the hotel. And just like the last 3 conferences I was at, I stay up until about 4 a.m, usually at the lobby, talking to people who want to talk to me. So then I roll in that next day. And so by, talk all day morning and into the afternoon, into the evening. So I hope that I will still have a voice at the end of the night. I am stoked. Bring your family. Bring everybody. Bring your heart. I know you all do. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all.
As well.
And I'm looking forward to seeing all you guys too.
Yes. Absolutely.
And to our 2 conference organizers.
Just stay tuned this week, everyone. If you follow our page, the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference, we'll be making announcements all week just as we're tying everything together. It's the last kind of puzzle pieces coming together, and we're excited that all of you are going to be there and that we get to do this all over again.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge time. Huge time. I mean, in the end, I'll just say this here, with the people that we've got involved with the Skunk Ape Roundtable and the total number of people we've got involved doing presentations and everything else, there are going to be so many people actively involved in the research, as well as people who've had these experiences, that if you are remotely interested, it's a great day to be in Ocala for this event. So,
and Daniel, we appreciate you so much putting this all together and doing this for us.
You are more than welcome. You are more than welcome. I am so excited to be there in a couple of days. I'll say we're flying out a week before, and we are so excited to be a part of this. I know Dad can't stop talking about it either. So we are all so excited to be there, and thank you so much for putting this all together. So, were you about to say something, Marty, or not?
No.
Okay. So guys, make sure we will see you all on June 8th, and see you in a couple of days. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Mythical Legends brings to you the 4th annual Great Florida Bigfoot Conference panel. Mark your calendars for this one-day event to be held at the World Equestrian Center in Ocala, Florida on June 8th. We are honored to host a panel of renowned experts in the field, including Russell Accord, Ranae, Holland, Gerhard, Adam Davies, Matt Pruitt, and Daniel Lee Barnett, led by RPG as the Master of Ceremonies. The general admission for this event is only $25. In addition to general admission, there are reserved seats in a few special VIP packages. For more information and to reserve your spot, please visit Florida Bigfoot Conference.